if that's our starting point, we're looking for the nearest bunch grass, and in distance right here, it would be this grass right here. Can you all see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, and here's the seed head on it. It's trying to make a seed head here. Now, the question I guess that Wayne poses, so that would be warm season. And again, here you would just, where's Fiona? You would just use some local resources if your managers don't know. But in time they should learn that out there. So it is a warm season grass. So the distance, we would want to use a measuring device, right? Mm-hmm. And we'd want to check from this point that Wayne selected arbitrarily the distance there, and we could record that as probably an inch. Mm-hmm. Probably about 1 inch. So as that goes in this column, am I correct? You're measuring
the distance, yeah, so it's warm or cool. The distance from your spot to the plant of size, a stable perennial bunch grass.
No, but you're not measuring it to the center, you're measuring to the edge.
Yes, from the closest edge. Yeah.
Of the bunch.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And then we want to measure what is the diameter.
Diameter of that. Okay.
Probably 2 inches.
Of the actual bunch itself.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, Greg. It could be about 3 inches. About
4?
Let's say 3.5 inches. I'll just split the difference with you all. Okay, now we just look around the point for litter presence.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I've got now. Wayne's just has decided that the idea here is that it's litter ready to cycle. Mm-hmm. Is that what we're talking
about?
Well,
we're talking firstly, is there litter at all?
Yes. Okay. The answer is yes.
There's litter.
There is litter.
You all see, yeah.
But not a lot.
No, but no. That's better. So we were looking for a trend in litter. So next year.
That's a lot.
But
when you say litter, you're like
here's
assuming this is not.
Exactly.
Right. Here's none right here.
Okay.
That's right, Bill. Yeah. Okay. None right here.
That's litter.
And there it is right there.
Okay.
So when you're measuring the litter, is that how many circumference around? Is it a foot around?
It's just around the base of that perennial. Is there litter, yes or no?
Of the perennial that we measured?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And litter could even be deer droppings or mouse.
Is the soil covered?
And the soil covered, yeah.
The soil is covered there. Our answer is
yes.
We do have soil covered there.
Then
then the extension of that in a year's time, you would expect this to grow.
So you're going to be looking at multiple points, and you're going to average it out. Are the average diameter increasing or decreasing? Positive or negative trend? Is the plant spacing bigger? Have you got more perennials in the same number of plants that you're selecting? Yes or no? Is there more bare ground? Yes or no? And the last point in the notes column we're wanting to ask, is there decomposing litter? So is there a distinction between the soil surface and the litter? Is there decomposition happening? We're talking about the mineral cycle. Is the plant life able to get close enough? Because this is a function of animal density. If the animals are trampling that stuff onto the ground, then and that's in these arid environments, arid tending environments, that's where you have that ability. If there's not sufficient density, you won't have this breakdown. It's very difficult to say. If you pull this away, you can't really see exactly where the litter starts and ends.
You could say, well, that soil right there underneath the litter is darker.
Yes, but here you can't really see. In that area, it's breaking down, right?
Okay.
And when you see this as straw, or grass that's on the surface, and you pull it away and there's hard ground there, there's not the contact that you need.
Right.
The density is not where it should be.
Right. Okay. But just going back to what I asked, and seeing that condition with more litter, would the expectation be a year from now that crop of grass would expand? Are the conditions right for that?
That's what you're wanting to check, yes.
You would want it to.
Okay.
You'd want.
No, I'm just saying that's what you would expect a year from now.
Well, no, is your management doing it? Are you achieving that with the animals, with the density, with the recovery time?
Okay.
and you're wanting to develop a trend.
That's the goal. Okay, so
Yeah.
in that area right there, yes, you're on the right path.
Well, we don't know now
Okay,
because this is spot one.
got it.
Now we know. From the second measure, we'll know.
Backwards or
So
forwards?
measuring in the same place a year from now, you're either going to be better or worse, and that's going to tell you what
Your
whether
trend is.
Your management's working.
And again, this is what we're saying. You should do more monitoring than this. But if you don't measure anything else, please do this.
Measure
Otherwise, you've got no clue what's going on,
Right.
and you're guessing. So you're guessing that all that time and energy and effort and investment that you're putting in is leading you in the right direction. This is a management tool. If you're not, how do you know whether you're on the right trend if you don't get on your hands and knees? How many management points you use, how often you monitor, that's different questions. But if you don't do anything, you should be doing at least this at least once a year.
And this, I like the protocol because, as Wayne has already told us, it relates directly to the three things that we're doing, the three tools we have. Are we grazing it, and how much are we taking, and the density with which we're grazing it. So what you're measuring are directly metrics of related to your management. And that's the cool thing about it. We could come out here and we could clip plots, we could look for production and all that. Well, those are kind of long-term things, but this is immediate. This is really an immediate answer.
Yeah, this is lead indicator monitoring. It's helping you decide whether it's working or not. Like I said, soil samples are great, but they're not helping what I must do next. They only help prove that what I did was right or wasn't right. So the next point, we're looking for the next closest point to that spot.
And our species, if you want to write it in the last column, is sand drop seed.
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. Sand drop seed. It is a warm season bunchgrass, and we got our parameters, and we just done one. We're ready to do some more.
Please.
Okay. Can we use your? Can you
Yeah, just use the same marker. So it's the next closest point.
Oh, it's the next closest point.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we want to do.
Right there, huh?
Sorry, I had to shove it in there.
I don't know what that grass is.
That tells you how hard the soil is, isn't it? Okay. So I see. You keep it there.
Yes.
How do you keep expanding your circle?
Yes, exactly. So if we were,
ABCD.
yeah, we want to go next closest perennial. So we've done that one.
Okay.
So that's too small, right?
That's too small, and that's this kind of diagram here. Right?
Yes.
Too small to measure.
Right. So I guess we're
here
going. Yeah. Would it be that one or that one? Yeah.
We could say that's that looks pretty stable. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
You want to do that? So we do that one.
Good.
Okay. Distance from our point to that one is 3 inches. So we'll use a 3-inch distance. That is a warm season. That's a warm season bunchgrass. So we'll put warm on that. Its diameter is probably only 1 inch. And that's our minimum. We don't want to measure anything less than 1 inch because we don't think, as in Wayne's terminology, it's not stable. It's not established well enough. It's not,
Yes, it's not.
there.
Yeah, you're not measuring it, and then it might not be there next year.
So
Is that making sense? It's not just a seedling,
What
in other
species
words.
is that, man?
That's going to be what we call stink grass.
What?
It's called stink grass. Mm-hmm.
Is it palatable?
I think it is palatable, but you know
You
what?
can smell it.
You know what, guys? I think it might be an annual grass. I'm thinking it might be. Does that come out of the ground very easy? No, it looks like it must
How
be
can you
perennial.
tell the difference between perennial and annual?
By doing what we were just doing,
Just
grabbing
pulling.
onto it, and yanking onto it.
Usually annuals don't have very big root systems.
These grasses, like especially,
And we're ignoring the annuals because they're low nutritional value. They're extremely unstable in terms of you can't rely on them for fodder, for feed. Whereas the perennials are much more stable.
it is. It's an annual. Yeah.
Okay, so we're
being an
ignoring
annual,
that.
We would ignore that. So sorry, guys. But let's keep going, because from there, then we would go. I think
That's more
also.
stink grass.
I think that's more stink grass. We were right here, were we? We got stink here. Now we're coming over to something like more stink grass there. It's all stink. Well, we're looking
Blue
at a
grama.
grass right here, and that is blue grama grass. How would you tell? Well, there's a seed head right there. Look for a plant that has a seed head. If that helps you right there, blue grama grass. There it is. Looks like the same kind of leaf. That is a bunch grass. Okay, so it's warm season, so we'll go to that one.
So it's number 2, huh?
That's number 2. And its distance across there, that's 8 inches exactly. So it's 8 inches from our point to that plant. And that's an important measurement now because we're going to start to see if we're going to fill in the plants in between that. That's an 8-inch gap right there. I think we can
8-inch measurement was from the
from
pen or from the other.
From the pen.
pen to the edge of the bunch grass. And that is blue grama grass if you want to write down blue grama. That's a major grass here. Its diameter is going to be diameter of that bunch. If we pick the leaves up, this is all the bunch right here. Looks like we might have a part of it that's dead, but let's get our measurement here. It looks like it's about maybe, I don't know, 2.5 inches in diameter, about 2.5 diameter. Now, I take it from what Wayne's talking about here, we look for litter right at the plant.
Yes, right around the plant.
Right around the plant there.
Well, there ain't much, is there?
There's not much. This
But it's
here,
there.
There is some.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this, is it? It's not totally bare. Did everybody see that?
Yeah.
It's not bare. We do have some litter there. So I guess the answer would be litter is present. Now, is it decomposing litter? I think that's a great measurement. You know, we talk about embedded litter when we measure litter. Is
Okay,
it embedded
all right.
versus not embedded?
Mhm.
I think that's kind of the same
Same thing, yes.
Yep.
Josh asked a different question. He called it separated,
Yeah.
which would also be if the litter's on top. There's a distinct layer between something like that and the litter layer.
Mm-hmm.
If you scrape it off, can you see that that's litter versus bare ground?
Yeah.
Another way to look at it. So that would again be that it's not much, but it's decomposing.
Yeah, it definitely is. Can you see that? It's starting to decompose right around there. There's some of the dark color. Yeah. In fact, it looks like some of it has decomposed. Be my guess
There's
already.
been some moisture.
It's in process and it has.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Greg. Go
There's
ahead.
been some moisture, so the microbes are probably pretty active.
So we could split that column and we could put that we had decomposing litter on both of those.
Yes.
And I'll just use a DL for my designation there. Anything to help you. Anything to help you, Coy, on that. I think.
Shall we do one more?
Yeah. Shall we? So that's it for the plant. You keep going until
You're
pretty much
filling 10 or 20 or whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do.
I wouldn't do more than 10 myself because
From
of
one-
time.
From the same point.
From the same point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what do you think, Fiona? It's just starting to move out from that point, huh? You do some monitoring, don't you, over there on
Yes.
the Flying Diamond Ranch?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not quite as extensive as this.
We'd have to go a ways to hit another plant.
Here's
Just-
the closest perennial.
Just pointing out that is a perennial, was a perennial. We're not going to measure it because it's dead.
Right. It died from overrest.